What it do, everybody? It's your boy King Crowder. What's up? Back again with another edition on history you may not know and things that are not taught in detail for sure. Today's lesson will be an eerie one, but I think it is great to clear up some of the stories about modern and previous plantations. Most people do not know, for starters, that there are no slave plantations in existence in Florida. Why? That is due to the Seminole War and the Maroons completely eliminating any lasting organization of slave plantations. Those brothers and sisters, those black Americans that were in Florida, earned their freedom by battling the U.S. government. If you're not familiar with the Seminole Wars, the three wars in the history they had, I would advise you to look up and research on that, because most people do not know that Florida has zero slave plantation. Florida had many freedmen towns and freedmen states, and Florida was also a free colony. Remember what I told y'all in the previous lesson? There was an underground railroad north as well as south. Most people do not know that. That is why you can go around other parts of states in this country, you will still see slave plantation, but Florida has zero until this day. They were burned down, destroyed by the freed Maroons of that colony, the Seminole Indians. Next, most of the slave plantations are in the Deep South, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. The reason why we saw those there is that you can see many plantations that you should visit and learn the history of those locations. Plantation will give such a perspective on why things used to happen, as far as who was indicted, how the slaves were kept, and how they were forced to go against their will. Slavery is a touchy subject in this country due to sensitivity matters, which I understand. But the practice should be analyzed from a different perspective. How did this happen, and what were the after effects of it? We must understand that our history is still new to this country. We still are relatively new. But analyzing what were the pitfalls and the bad things will help us out internally. The slave plantation that you will see most likely down there, they usually had 50 slaves enslaved, I apologize for my language, to average one enslaver. They fed them minimal meals and had them working at different parts. And what they mostly did was condition the mind. This is where we understand why psychology played a huge part. Slave plantation and most of the ones that had formerly enslaved locations are the states that are doing the poorest to this day. Pay attention to the names. You have South Carolina, Georgia, Louisiana, Alabama, and Mississippi. All of those places are doing the bottom economically. They were one of the richest states at the time due to the free labor among black Americans, but right now they are some of the poorest educated and poorest economically in this country. The Civil War, we all know how the Post-Emancipation Proclamation, Lincoln, free the slaves, Juneteenth, we all are familiar with those terms. But going into the minute details will clarify why the overseers and why the slave plantation was such a big deal. We must understand, get some clarity. There was no reason the Confederate South Army wanted to go to war but to preserve slavery. That was their main economic base, economic capital, and the only way that could sustain life. The North wanted to emerge capitalism, which we, society we all live in to this day. But understanding the dynamic of the slave plantation and the current economic system will help you break down any way that does not have clarity until this day. I highly recommend you go to at least one, recommend at least three, for my opinion. But educating yourself on these places and walking around and seeing how these individuals live. While we have the structure, will give clarity to where we are going. We must learn how to reflect back if we want to do better as a country. It's your boy King Crowder. Check him back out again with a lesson on slave plantations and where they are in this country and economically why they have such an impact. Please make sure you smash that subscribe button. I hope you learned something. Hopefully this information was guaranteed for you. It's your boy checking out. Peace.